Hello, I'm Jay, owner of Volunteer Audio. I want to take a few minutes and go over a repair we're doing to a bike. So we didn't originally do this install, but this is something we see far too often. We've got actually a good friend of ours who has a lot of money in his Roadglide. He has bought some of the very best equipment. He's got the Hertz SX 690 Neo 6x9s. He bought two sets of the SX 165 Neos, and he has two separate Hertz amplifiers, the HMP 4Ds. This bike should be amazing. He also has the Sony XAV AX7000. That's a very common radio to see people put in, and it is a very, very good sounding radio. Never has the sound been a problem with the Sony. Sometimes they get wet and it causes them not to work anymore. That's kind of their main problem. But I wanted to go over this because this is something we get asked about all the time. People buy what they feel is the best equipment, and it's not just, in this case, Hertz brand. It could be Sound Digital, it could be Ground Zero, it could be Rockford, it could be so many other motorcycle brands. And all these companies make good components. Some we feel are better than others, but they all make something that, when installed correctly, gives you a pretty good result. It allows you to hear it at highway speeds, and definitely an improvement over factory audio. This was done by another local installer, another friend of my friends, and a friend of mine as well. We have a lot of friends in the industry, and I don't want you to think I'm talking down on people that do installations. I'm making this video specifically to show you how to tell if something is wrong with your installation that you've had done. I know a lot of you have trusted a professional to do the job, and in most cases we see that professionals do a very good job. This particular bike, the issues we have, this guy's named Reggie. He brought it in to me, and he told me, he said, I just want you to listen to it. He said, it sounds bad. He said, I know when you hear it, you're going to know there's something wrong. So the first thing we did was we started playing a song, and as we turned it up, once we got to about volume 25 out of 50, the fuses blew in both amps. That should not happen. We never have the fuses blow in these Hertz amplifiers. So we know that our impedance is probably wrong. We know the amps are bridged. They've probably done that incorrectly, and they're causing way too much amperage draw, and therefore it's blowing the fuse, which it's doing its job. It's protecting the amps from the overcurrent from the wrong installation. All right, I want to tell you about a tool that we haven't shown in our other videos yet. It's something that every installer should have. It's very inexpensive, and at the end of the job, every job we do, even though we've done hundreds of bikes, we test with this tool to make sure that our polarity is correct. So let's explain what polarity is. When we have a speaker, we're going to connect up a positive and negative lead. When it is hooked up correctly, it's considered in phase. If you reverse those wires, it is out of phase. If we have one speaker in phase and an opposite speaker out of phase, or another speaker out of phase, it's actually going to cancel frequencies, and it does this in the mid-bass range. So when we have one speaker opposite from our other speaker, it still plays music. We still have treble from our tweeters. We still hear vocals, but we seemingly have no bass. You know, a lot of guys are trying to buy bigger and better speakers to get more bass, and then they take it somewhere and they get it installed, and the polarity is incorrect from the existing speakers that they had or from each other. And in that case, every single time, it sounds very high-pitched. It sounds very hollow. It doesn't have that full, rich sound that a good sound system should have. So this tool is between $10 to $15. We normally purchase them on eBay. They're not something that lasts forever, so I normally buy 3 or 4 at a time. We throw them away as they break. Runs off a 9-volt battery. Very, very easy to use, though. All you do is we go on YouTube and we play a polarity track. It comes with a CD, but we don't have CD in most of our bike builds. So we play a polarity track. It's going to give us a sound, a little thumps through our speakers, and we should get 3 green lights and 1 red light when our polarity is correct. So I'll show you a quick test on how to do that. We've done this on this bike, and I already know out of 6 speakers, 3 are out of phase. So even buying the very best speakers, putting them on the best amplifiers, the wrong installation, the fact that part of this bike is opposite in phase from the other side of the bike, is creating this loss of mid-bass response, and it makes it sound really bad. Now, you may think, well, I can check on my wires and I'll make sure that I get it right and it won't be out of phase. We have found that Harley, in the factory backbone harness that runs our tour packs or our factory CVO lids, at times they actually wire it out of phase. There's no rhyme or reason. We've tried different years, and sometimes when we're done, they're out of phase. Sometimes we get done, they're not. It's always the rear speakers. So we test those with this, and then we correct any polarity issues, which brings our bass in and gives us good bass response. So I'm going to show you how this test works. So let me grab my phone, I'll go to YouTube, and I'll turn on this polarity track that we've got going. So you'll hear it's just a bunch of little pops. 3 are in phase, 1 is out of phase. So as we put our little tester on, we should get 3 green lights and 1 red light, which I get out of this speaker. I go to our other side, I get 3 red and 1 green. That signifies our front 2 speakers are opposite from each other in phase. So we've done this on all 6 speakers, and we found this to be the case on the whole bike. So 3 of the 6 speakers are out of phase. We're going to fix that. We're going to take the 2 amps. They're laying in the bag. They're not secured down, one of which is going to be wired properly and installed underneath the radio on a Roadglide bracket. The Sony radio, as we talked just a minute ago, has a lot of issues out of water. This guy's having some issues as well, and he's liable to ride in the rain. He doesn't stop. So we're going to put the new SoundStream HD HU14 Plus head unit in. It's IPX6 water rated. We're going to properly wire in an HMP4D. We're going to reuse one of the 2 he already has. We're going to test all the speakers and make sure that none of them are blown. I see a bolt has rattled loose and is sitting on top of this 6x9, so that's not really a good sign. But any speakers that are damaged are going to be replaced. We're going to correct all the wiring, run proper disconnects to the bags. We're going to put new grills in the front because it's got an old set of Millie Pro tweeters mounted in the grills. They no longer work, so we're going to put a nicer set of grills without those holes. But we're going to spend a lot of time fixing this. It could have been done right the first time. And I really reach out to all installers. Please take the time, double check your work, tighten all the bolts, because we need all of our customers to have good experiences. If you don't do a good job, the next bike that this person buys, they may choose not to upgrade. So our goal to stay in business and to have happy customers is to make sure that everything is double checked and took care of. But like I say, we're going to fix it. It's going to get a new head unit. Amp's going to get wired properly. All the speakers are going to get tested. And at the end of this, I'm going to show you what a proper install looks like. And we're also going to listen to it. We're going to set our gains on our amplifiers correctly. They should not blow fuses at 25. We should be able to go to full volume without blowing up anything, whether it be a fuse, an amp, or a speaker. So we'll get all that set right with our DD1, get our gains matched. So thank you for hanging out with us. I'll be back shortly with this bike done. All right, so about 8, maybe 9 hours of labor ago, we showed you this bike. Reggie brought it to us. He'd had an install done on it using some of the best components, but it didn't work out right. Didn't sound good. We had a lot of engine noise coming through the speakers. We had some issues where if you went to volume 25, it blew the fuses. There were a lot of issues going on that we had to fix. We found out that half the speakers, the polarity was actually opposite from the other half. So I want to go over and show you a few of the things that we changed out. So these were the Millie Pro 6x9s. These are a great 6x9. If you got a car, a truck, amazing speaker, and for years people put them in Harleys because they sounded so good in a Harley. Ever since this SX690 Neo came out, it's a power sport speaker. It's built for Harleys. It's got a neodymium magnet. And I want to clarify what neodymium is. A lot of people hear the word neo, they have no idea what it is. But neo magnets or neodymium magnets are about 40 times stronger than a standard strontium or ferrite magnet that you would see in a regular speaker. What that means is this thing is super heavy. There's 5 pounds maybe or more of magnet. It would take 3 pounds of magnet to equal 1 ounce of magnet on a Neo. So even though it's smaller, it's lighter, your bag's now going to operate better. It can handle more power. It's got more control. It's going to be clear at loud volumes. So the Neo is definitely the way to go, and it's completely waterproof as well. So we don't have to worry about this speaker going out from water where we had an open hole right down the center pole for water to drain into these 6x9s. We also had one of the most popular radios, probably to go into a Harley, the Sony AX7000. Great radio. Car, truck, Jeep, most Harleys that don't get in the water, this is an awesome radio. We've sold them for years. Used to be the only option we had to do an upgrade on a 4.3 or 6.5 GT radio, or even some of the GTSs, people went to this radio. This one had some water damage to it. It was mounted correctly, it was wired correctly, but now we have the new Soundstream Reserve HD HU14. Much better fitment. Fits really well all the way around, and it's IPX6 water rated. Sounds excellent. So I've already had the owner here, and he did a little listen to it. Originally, we had 2 amps. We had 1 in each bag. And he asked me, when he listened to it, he said, "That's only 1 amp? Why did I have 2? And I got to fall back on a lot of times people that buy 2 amps do it because, number 1, they got the money to do it. Number 2, somebody's willing to sell it to you. If you want to spend more money, somebody's always willing to take it. But now we have 1 amplifier mounted underneath the radio behind the headlight. And I think if that would originally happen, a lot of his problems wouldn't have been there, because what we found was these bags got taken off, the tank got taken off to do the engine work. And I talked to the original installer. He swears it was on low level when it was installed originally. It's RCA out of the Sony radio to begin with. And somebody had swapped it to high. When you do that, all of a sudden, all the gains are adjusted wrong. So that's why it was blowing fuses. We also had a blown 6x9, probably from the fact it was got some water in it, and also left like that for quite some time with those gains adjusted improperly. But between incorrect polarity, improper settings on the amplifiers, wiring, oh man, we took so much wiring out. I started completely over. I stripped everything out. Tightened up all the screws and bolts because all sorts of stuff was loose. The bags, somebody had put these bags on their fiberglass stretch bag, and they never put the rubber bushings on the bottom of the bag. There's 2 of them. They just isolate the bag from the vibration of the bike and that metal pole on the bottom. So we got some of those from the Harley dealer. Now our bags are mounted solid. Everything's tight. New Neos in that. SX165 Neos that were in it were still good. None of them were blown. They've been reinstalled. All the polarity's been corrected. We put new grills in with Hertz logos to replace the old Hertz speakers. Had little tweeters they'd cut into the original grills, so we wanted to fix that. And if you remember, it had some awesome lowers. Let me grab what they were. Yeah, this. The original lower that would have had a little door and you could have put some stuff in here. They took the door off and screwed the speakers straight to it. So as you see now, we actually have gloss black lowers, correct grills, all of our wiring that we normally would use. So the lowers are actually teed off of the uppers. We sell that harness at our website, volunteeraudio.com. Makes it really clean and easy to add on those lower speakers. We did our HMP 4D. It's our Hertz 600 watt amp that's pre-wired for the Soundstream radio. It's what is now mounted underneath. So we actually took the HMP 4D that was originally in one of the bags, wired it up just like we do our plug-and-play kit, ran new power and ground wire back so all that would be right. And then we ran a new backbone harness and quick disconnects to these 6x9s. So that's a whole lot to be said to talk about a bike that needed a lot of love. Reggie was so happy when he listened to it. It sounded so good. And now it's time for us to turn it on and let you listen and see what it sounds like. This is what we consider a stage 6, 1 amplifier, 6 speakers. Now with this new Soundstream radio, we've got such a better signal than we would off a GTS radio. It really, really comes to life, and I think you can hear that in the video. I'd love for you to hear it in person, so maybe we can arrange sometime. You can come down and check us out. But let's get this thing on and let's listen to it. All right, I think you can hear my mic distorts a little bit from how loud it is. And it gets a little distorted on your video, but I'm telling you, it's crystal clear here. Those highs are crisp. The lows are rich and deep. This is a very, very awesome sounding system. Reggie's going to have an excellent time riding around showing his friends, showing off what it now sounds like, what it should have sounded like when he did the original build. Like I say, I talked to the original installer. He's a good friend of mine. I don't think it was in quite as bad a shape when he got done with it. I'm not naming any names. He's a good friend of mine. He's a good Christian brother, and I don't talk about people. But we definitely have this thing fixed, and hopefully he mends his friendship with this guy. They work it out. But I think it's a beautiful bike, beautiful sounding system. This bike was built as a tribute to Reggie's brother, and we wanted to make sure that everything was done back just like it needed to be. So if you've got a project like this and maybe it's a little bit more than you want to tackle, definitely reach out to us. We'll set an appointment up. We'll get you took care of. If you want to do it yourself, maybe you don't trust other people working on your bike, I'll definitely hook you up with the exact self-install parts you need. Take all the hard work out of it. You can just do the labor, running the wires, putting everything where it goes. So thank you for watching our video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. Subscribe to our channel. If you have any questions about how to install, if you just want somebody to talk to, you want to talk about Jesus, whatever it is, just reach out to me. It's 1-844-30-AUDIO. Visit us at www.volunteeraudio.com. You'll find our emails on there. So send your questions through email or call us. We'll go over your bike. We'll figure out how to make you happy and end up with a great result just like this. But thank you for watching. Again, subscribe, like us, share us with your friends, and God bless. All right, so we got Reggie's bike done. He's here picking it up, and we decided we were going to set up and do a little walk away. Let you hear how clear and how loud it is as we get away from it. Let's get it going, we'll walk away. Clean. Now this is 1 amp, 2 pairs of SX165 Neos, which is really what you're hearing because the 6x9s, the SX690 Neo Hertz speakers are firing pretty much straight up. Doesn't lose much volume as you walk away. Thing just still loud and clear. I'm gonna keep going. Around the block. I think we'll run out of song before we run out of sound. I think we're pretty close, about 100 yards away, and it's still loud and clear. Let's let the song catch back. There we go. A little speck back there's that motorcycle making all that noise. All right, I think you get the idea. I'm kind of tired of walking.